All right, viewers, warm welcome. You're watching To The Point. We're going to exactly get to the point on what is leading to your power cuts.
While a coal supply crisis is now brewing in India, Asia's second largest economy, for a second day.
If you are in metro cities, maybe this power cut crisis has not reached you yet, but it may not be far too.
Those were the headlines from last April: coal shortage and power cuts. And there are chances that you will watch this again. India is again heading towards another round of massive coal crisis. This is for the third in a short span of time. Why is world's second largest coal producer consistently failing to feed its power plants? Reason 1. India never anticipated huge rise in power consumption. 2. Our rate of increase in coal production slowed down drastically. In fact, it's almost stagnant. Huge rise in coal prices has made its import harder, with many state governments reluctant to pay for it. Okay, these are the facts, but why shouldn't we also understand why? Why did New Delhi fail to anticipate the rise in demand? Why has coal production stagnated? Why are many state governments reluctant and some even refusing to pay for imports? It's a huge import bill of around 40,000 crore rupees as per some estimates. You will soon find that our answers are also linked to this hefty amount. Let's follow the money. Welcome to the Money Train. Before we begin our train, please subscribe to our channel. Would love to have you on board. Now back to the money train. Remember the COVID time? Humans as a race were slowing down, and for others, a sigh of relief. But as soon as the threat subsided, we were back in action, doing double time. Factories, mines, industries all went ablaze. World became power thirsty as it was in the earlier stage, and soon power was in short supply. As the economic theory says, where there is huge demand, price goes up. So all prices went up. Coal prices went up. Not because the production expenses increased, but there are so many who are in need of it, and some are willing to outsmart others by paying more. The producers make windfall profit when there is huge demand. But India, the second largest producer of coal, didn't make any. In fact, it shot by 49.9 million tons of coal for this whole year. This is triple the unexpected report in The Hindu, quoting government documents presented in a high-level meeting. It's the business of the government to know in advance the power demands of a nation. It has coal and power ministries, the mighty Coal India Limited as the major coal producer, and a whole lot of subject experts. A few years back, about 60 coal blocks were released to private players to boost production. Still, the system failed to meet the demand. Unbelievable.
You'll get an idea if you look at 2021-22. 2021-22, according to the mining plans, they're supposed to produce 204 million tons because 11 more blocks got added, operational blocks. So 47 plus 11, 58 operational blocks, and they're expected to produce 204 billion tons according to the approved mining plan. And this is an obligation on the part of the private developers. Whereas they're producing only 135 million tons in the current year. And I wonder whether even that is possible.
And what about the giant public sector company, Coal India Limited? Its production has stagnated around 600 metric tons for the last 3 years. Before that, it was growing at 11% and suddenly there is no growth in production. What happened? Here are some facts. This profit-making PSU is cashed out for some time. In the name of dividend, the union government took away a staggering 35,000 crore of Coal India's cash reserves. Then the company was forced to invest in the fertilizer business. Delay in appointments were so pathetic that there were times when Coal India had to wait about 2 years to get the managing director post filled.
And mines are generally in very backward areas and tribal areas. That's where the coal mines are. So you have so many qualified good fellows, we need them for Swachh Bharat. So mine managers were diverted for Swachh Bharat program and things like that. And then Coal India was told that you start investing in fertilizer industry. So in that sense, what happened was that the whole program of Coal India was distorted by the present government.
And now the usual story will do the rounds about how the inefficiency of public sector undertakings have screwed one more sector. Get them all privatized and such mongering will go on. We don't know what exactly government was thinking when they neglected the crucial coal sector. Remember, it constitutes more than half of India's total power production. Nevertheless, we know exactly what the union government is planning now. Import coal, import maximum coal and fill the gap. They have issued orders to all power generating companies, both public and private, to import 10%, at least 10% of the total demand. But almost all the state governments have refused. Why? Because it's a huge import bill staring at them.
In the normal course, when you import coal, last year before, it was about 5,000 rupees per ton. So domestic coal landed price is about 3,000 rupees per ton, say Tamil Nadu or anywhere. Now, maximum 5,000 is less than double. This year, they quoted an additional 20,000 rupees per ton. That means 25,000 rupees per ton. Now, this has nothing to do with cost of production. I calculated roughly about 20 million tons at the rate of about 20,000 rupees per ton extra. 40,000 crores is the extra burden on the states. And I have demanded that this amount should be compensated. The center should transfer this amount to the states.
How can a state government bargain alone and get a favorable price from multinational companies? Remember the COVID time? It was exactly the same. When the entire world was scrambling for vaccines, our union government, in a surprise move, asked the state governments to order and purchase vaccines directly from multinational companies. This absurd idea was only reversed when the Supreme Court intervened and ordered to do so. Otherwise, we would have been paying more for vaccines and the rate will differ from state to state. But thankfully, for Colin Board, things didn't go that far. After weeks of debate and pressurizing, the union government has agreed to do the purchase from international markets. But still, states has to pay for the sins of the center.
The center cannot, issue orders to the state that they must do so and so. For example, Telangana has refused. UP has refused. So many states have refused because they have no choice. They cannot drive the discoms into total bankruptcy. Now, your question was, do we have a choice? No, what is the choice between deep sea and the devil?
And here are the plot thickens. Who are the coal producers in the international market that are going to sell us coal for huge margins? One of them is the Adani group, and to whom they are selling to state companies and to private companies. And Adani is India's largest power producer in private sector. So Adani sells and Adani purchases. So it's profitable both ways. And there are many other companies who are doing the same. As a topping, a bilateral trade agreement recently signed between Australia and India makes the import of coal from Australia tax-free. Please note that Adani runs the largest coal mine in Australia.
When the state governments wanted to renegotiate power purchase agreements, some of the states wanted to renegotiate power purchase, not now, in the last 4 or 5 years, because there were very aggressive power purchase agreement clauses, where even if they don't produce, a private company, you have to reimburse them of the 100% fixed costs. Now, when they wanted to do it, Government of India said, look, there's a contract act. You are disturbing the sanctity of a contract. You cannot renegotiate. Now, suddenly now, when this coal crisis took place, and in a way, probably in order to benefit these oligarchs who own coal mines abroad, what they have done is, no, we'll permit you to renegotiate power purchase agreements with the private IPPs. There are many private IPPs, generation companies in the states, and they have to supply electricity. They are not supplying because there's no coal. No, you import. Don't worry, we'll renegotiate. Double standards.
Are these coal producers overpricing? A few years back, the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, the mighty DRI, had initiated an investigation against 40 of India's biggest energy companies. And what was the allegation? Over-invoicing of imported coal from Indonesia means artificially spiking the coal price, and the scam was estimated to be around 29,000 crore at that time. Notices were issued to companies that include those in Adani Group, Reliance, etc. All big names. But since then, nothing has been heard of it.
Not a single notice has been converted into conviction. Nothing has happened. They just manipulate. The High Court, the Bombay High Court gave an order saying that you can't issue a letter rogatory. Then the Supreme Court said, no, nothing doing, you can issue. In all this drama, If suppose there has been over invoicing, after 20 years we go to find out whether bank will say, go to hell, I don't have any documents, 20 years old. So the whole thing is, it's even worse if there is fair and honest trade. I don't mind, but what is going on is over invoicing.
Ultimately, everything boils down to one thing: higher electricity charges. The consumers pay the price for all those sins. When the coal crisis headlines return this time, one about a raised power tariff can also be expected very soon. Meanwhile, all the dreams and promises about less global warming are going down the drain. 1 year back, we were actively discussing about how to reduce the global temperature from rising above 1.5 degrees Celsius. Now, nobody is even talking about cleaner energy. We could have planned better.
भारत 2030 तक अपनी नॉन फोसिल एनर्जी कैपेसिटी को 500 गीगावाट तक पहुंचाएगा। दूसरा, भारत 2030 तक अपनी 50% एनर्जी रिक्वायरमेंट रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी से पूरी करेगा। तीसरा, भारत